The film begins with a scene of Allison swimming in an indoor pool. Daniel narrates as he works on his model train show at home, discussing how hobbies get to create their own universe. Allison sings at a party, and her fiancé Nathan makes a statement about how happy he is to marry her.
Every memory I cherish in my life has you in it.
Allison discusses how she utilizes seduction to sell medications to doctors as a Purdue salesperson in their bedroom. Allison is driving her future sister-in-law and her husband to look at wedding clothes in the next scene, which takes place on the New Jersey Turnpike. The two brag about how great their daughter Ryan is doing in school and how she might be able to obtain a scholarship to Stanford due to her soccer skills. Due to construction, one lane is closed, producing a traffic bottleneck. They discuss Nathan's lack of communication with his father. The pair expresses an interest in seeing a Broadway show that night. Allison checks her phone to see what tickets are available and fails to spot a backhoe approaching the closed-off lane she's in. Ryan, Daniel's 16-year-old granddaughter, is dropped off at school. He receives a phone call from Nathan, with whom he is estranged, and hears that her mother was murdered in a vehicle accident. Allison is battered and doped up in the hospital, while her mother, Dan, tries to tell her the dreadful news he already knows. A police officer enters, requiring a blood sample due to a fatality. Nathan informs her that the accident killed both his brother and sister-in-law. Daniel is standing outside calmly and watching. Allison cuts her hair 1 year later. She is now living with her mother and is frantic to have her drug prescription refilled. Diane points out that she's no longer in bodily discomfort and that no doctor will offer her medicines. Allison informs her mother that she takes Xanax and drinks champagne and she desires her own medicines. Allison rushes to the restroom and takes the last bottle of Oxy when she is told there are no tablets. Diane puts the pills down the toilet while the two argue about them. Allison tells her she despises her and walks out of the house. Allison rides her bike to the drugstore because she no longer feels safe behind the wheels of a car. Meanwhile, Ryan is teased on the soccer pitch by a rival soccer player who is jealous of a boy. Ryan attacks her adversary and gets kicked out of the game after she discusses her mother's death. While Daniel tries to calm her down, she reveals that she has anger issues. Allison goes to the pharmacy to get oxytocin and is told she is out of refills, so she's probably trying to wean herself off of them. Allison is nasty and forceful in her request for a refill, but she is given a booklet on opioid addiction. On her way out, she steals some hair clips and then rides her bike home. Allison searches the toilet for concealed medications and discovers image of herself and Nathan from their previous relationship. Instead, she consumes some medications and experiences flashbacks of the vehicle crash. Allison bikes to a lunch appointment at a nice restaurant the next day with someone she knew from her days as a Purdue sales rep. Allison attempts to get a Jack and Coke but is told the alcohol is not served that early in the morning. Allison expresses a want for a prescription. The woman says she can't do it, but she could ask a drug dealer. Allison blackmails her, threatening to divulge what happened at her bachelorette party, which upsets her old co-worker and ends the meeting. Daniel gets summoned to Ryan's high school because her attitude problem is threatening expulsion. Allison walks into a bar, gets a tequila, and runs into two high school friends, Mark and Diego, who recalls how she used to be engaged to Nathan, a running back. He also emphasizes Nathan's deafness in one ear, which plays a role later in the film. After a lengthy discussion, it is revealed that she was a bitch to them in high school because she was popular. She is in such a bad mood right now that she wants Mark to assist her in getting some Oxy. They claim they don't fool with medications, but she claims they've always known where they acquire narcotics. She requests financial assistance as well as payment for a drink. They are amazed by how far she has fallen since high school. Allison says she thought of them as Jersey trash who'd never get out, but now she's there beside them, yearning for a fix. He points out that she is now an addict, but she is in a denial. He promises to buy her everything she wants if she declares, "I am freaky junkie," and she eventually relents. Mark and Diego assist Allison in obtaining narcotics. She returns home unwell, and her mother admits she was concerned after she had been absent for so long. Diane has obtained some oxytocin from acquaintances and provides it to Allison. They discuss how her father is a terrible guy for abandoning Allison. Daniel returns home to see Ryan having sex with an older boy and scares the lad out of the house via the window. Daniel grabs her phone and grounds her. He walks to the locked liquor cabinet and takes out a bottle of whiskey, which he opens but does not consume. Allison takes her bike to an AA meeting and is astonished to find Daniel there. She attempts to leave, but Daniel persuades her to stay. He tells her he's been clean for 10 years, but he's recently needed extra help. She wonders if the accident is the reason he's craving alcohol again, and he eventually confesses it. She claims she'll go to another meeting, but he says she found her way there and persuades her to come. Allison wishes to enter an inpatient institution, but her family cannot afford it. Diane advises Allison to obtain a job, but Allison no longer feels like a competent, capable self. Nathan runs into Daniel at the park, even though they don't talk much anymore, since Ryan claims he's smothering her. Nathan describes how his sister and he were scared of him. It was continually frightening them. Before leaving, Daniel admits to seeing Allison and Nathan at AA meeting. Nathan informs her that Daniel is undoubtedly suffering because he blames her for his daughter's death. Nathan watches a video of himself and Allison when they got engaged at the railway station. Daniel discusses his issue with alcoholism at an AA meeting. His father was a drinker who used to physically attack him, something he pledged not to do to his children. But as he became drunker, he's passed out and wake up to find his kids had been beaten so badly that they had to be brought to the hospital, leading him to lose hearing in his right ear, which is how he went deaf. Allison and him then go out to Diane. Allison informs Daniel that he was neither intoxicated or high at the time of the vehicle collision. Daniel claims to have authored every report on the disaster ever written. Allison informs Daniel that Nathan said he was born deaf and hence did not want Daniel to be condemned. Daniel admits to her that he's an over the head with Ryan. Allison recommends talking to Ryan, but he refuses, and she recognizes it won't work because she murdered Ryan's mother. Daniel confides in Ryan about his difficulties in parenting her at home. He inquires as to whether she utilizes protection during sex. She says she's merely chatting to him to get her phone back. He advises she stop using birth control tablets. Allison chats to another AA member in the park about how she used to be a competitive swimmer before her father moved to Ohio and began a new family. Allison notes that the only item he forgot was his Rolex. The lady says she'll be Allison's sponsor if she eventually speaks out at a meeting. So Allison does. She discusses how she became hooked to medications after being involved in a vehicle accident in which 2 people died, including her future sister-in-law. And she's become accustomed to relying on pain medicine to alleviate her discomfort. And now, in the absence of the medications, she wishes to die. Daniel invites Allison to his house to show her the model railway village he has built. He claims that the town is based on South Orange, New Jersey, where he grew up. The little soldier represents him on the day he returned from Vietnam. Other figures include her father, who arrived at the station to fetch him up. Allison runs into Ryan, who arrived home from school early that day.
It's only 1 o'clock. Why are you home?
As he emerges from the basement. When Ryan discovers it's the lady who murdered her mother, she shouts at Allison to go and point out that this is where her mother used to live. Allison apologizes and says she wishes it had been her fault. Daniel asks her to supper before she can go. Allison asks whether she's an alcoholic during dinner because she met Daniel at AA. Allison confesses that she has a prescription medication addiction. Ryan claims that students at her school snort it and questions Allison about why she dumped her uncle Nate. Allison claims she was outraged and bolted. Allison inquires about her departure from soccer when Daniel mentioned it. Ryan claims she despises all of the girls on the squad. Allison recalls her parents bragging about how good she was at soccer and how she was going to win a scholarship. Danielle mentions that she left the squad, is mounting off in class, and isn't performing well. Ryan claims she used to have a 4.0 and could get it back in a heartbeat if she cared, but she no longer does following the death of her mother. Allison chooses to go, but first offers her phone number. Ryan asks Allison to coffee the next day, so she learned more about the accident that killed her mother. Allison persuades her to rejoin the soccer squad and promises to accompany her to a game. Ryan agrees, so those females will not prevent her from attending Stanford. Allison attends the game and witnesses Ryan's goal. Daniel offers Allison a subtle nod, satisfied that he has persuaded Ryan to take responsibility once more. Allison suffers from withdrawal symptoms at night at home. When Allison eventually meets Ryan for coffee, Ryan asks whether she was using her phone, which we know she was, to check up Broadway shows. And Ryan informs her that Daniel has seen all of the reports, including the phone records, and has them all memorized. She also believes Allison should have stayed with her uncle Nate and informs her that he has a new dog and a new girlfriend. Allison is disappointed and sobbing, but she wishes Nate well. She gets up to go and walks right past Daniel, who is watching from another table. Allison enters the restroom and searches Nathan on Instagram to see his new life, something she had avoided seeing for the last year. Allison tells Daniel on her way out that she's leaving because she's unwell from withdrawals. Allison returns home, snorts oxytocin, and fades. Diane approaches Allison about launching a company on Etsy. Allison instead contacts Ryan, who invites Allison to a musical concert in New York featuring a hot guy she likes. Allison believes Daniel will object to their going out, but Ryan points out that she'll go anyhow, so if Ryan doesn't go, she'll be alone. Allison is angry with herself for not remaining sober and tells herself in the mirror, "I hate you so much." She enters the bedroom, downs the bottle of pills, reflects on her previous life with Nathan, and then spits it all out. Allison arrives at the railway station to accompany Ryan. Daniel calls Diane and inquires about Ryan, who is missing, and wonders whether she's with Allison, who is also missing. Diane expresses gratitude to him for being so kind to Allison. Ryan and Allison attend a concert by the band. The hot guy she referenced is really the older lad with whom she previously had sex. Allison is listening to music when Ryan unexpectedly appears with Nathan and his new girlfriend. Allison goes to the bar, upset. Ryan reveals she wanted Nathan and Allison back together, but didn't anticipate his new girlfriend to show up. Allison goes to the bar and gets some tequila, accusing Ryan of doing it on purpose when she checks in. Allison accepts Ryan's boyfriend's invitation to a party in Williamsburg. Daniel contacts Allison's sponsor in an attempt to locate Ryan and Allison. It is advised that he utilize Find the Phone to locate Ryan, something he has never heard of. Everyone at the party is drinking and using drugs. Ryan is kissing her lover in a bedroom. Inebriated and unable to hear her text message ring, Daniel discovers her location and threatens to murder her. Daniel arrives at the party and holds a gun at the boy who is sleeping with Ryan. Nate arrives and convinces him out of killing his boyfriend. Daniel claims he has nothing to lose, but Nate reminds him that he still has him and Ryan. Nate instead strikes the boyfriend when Daniel lowers the pistol. Daniel asks Allison why she's there. She answers she's there to protect Ryan and to make things right. Daniel informs her that she will never be able to undo what she has done. He wants his life and his children back. He says that he wanted to despise her and that when she enters the meeting, he thought God was testing him. And now she can't keep her distance from his grandchild who has no mother or father. Allison is described as the effing waste of a soul by him. He informs her that this isn't how it should be because he's a wonderful person. Before getting into a cab, he says that based on phone record, he knows she was looking at her phone, which delays her reaction, making her responsible for the murder of his daughter and her husband. Allison is having a panic attack. Allison awakens in the house of her sponsor. She goes to a pawn shop and sells her father's Rolex for cash. She then uses the money to enter a rehabilitation facility. While there, she attends meeting, is given controlled medicine, resumes singing, and resumes swimming. Meanwhile, Ryan continues to play soccer while she only recently began. Ryan and Daniel's relationship is restored as she transforms into a happier version of herself. Allison is more open to Nathan now that she's feeling well. Allison says she didn't know how to deal with her loss, so she abandoned him and became selfish. But she didn't want to harm him any longer, and it was all her fault because she was distracted by her phone. She apologizes to him in a way she never could before. She also informs him about Nate's father, who saved her life, and she wanted it to be apparent that she adored him and will always mourn the life that they had together. He comments how lovely it would be if they could find a way back into one other's life. Allison completes a treatment program 1 year later, a better version of herself. She then obtains a job, singing at a piano and work in a restaurant. She receives a phone call informing her that Daniel has died. She plans his funeral reception and visits his tiny railway village. By a figure of a girl riding a bicycle, there is an envelope with her name on it. The letter is Daniel informing Allison that everything is always nice and without difficulties in the small version of a city, but real life isn't as neat and tidy. Nathan is moving back home to be Ryan's guardian till she leaves for college. He offers Allison assist because Nate was always the greatest version of himself while he was around her. He cherishes the last year of his life when he and Nate were reconciled and no longer apart. Ryan discovers Allison in the basement and invites her up on the front porch. They console each other. I hope you liked the movie. Please let me know what movie you want me to recap. And yes, I will do it for you. Please subscribe if you haven't already. See the next film.